Welcome to week 1. I'm going to show you how to work in your lab 1 for this week. And lab 1 is due by Sunday. So this is what you have on Blackboard in week 1. You can go to lecture notes and activities, and this is all the resources are going to be. And my recorded lecture is going to be right below here. I'm going to post that, the recording I'm doing right now, I'm going to post it right here. So what I'm going to need for this week is this formula sheet. So I'm going to open that formula sheet, and we're going to use all the formulas for this week. Are going to be in this Word file. So open that, and so this is the these are the formulas. Now the first page has the formulas for week 1, and the second page have the formulas for week 2. So this is the formula sheet for week 1 and 2. And this is a week 1, we're doing review from algebra, okay? And now after you open the formula sheet, you can go click on the WebAssign link. Yeah, click on this link, and it's gonna take you to your WebAssign. And then when you click at lab 1, this is what you're gonna see. Now, in lab 1, I'm gonna start solving the problems. You're gonna have the same type of problems, just different numbers. There are 24 questions. And make sure you double check this table when you're done. Make sure you have the green check marks everywhere. So this is what you have. I'm going to start with number 1. It says find the slope. So finding the slope, if you have 2 points given, we're going to use the formula sheet, the slope formula. And the slope formula is, I'm going to show you right here. This is the slope formula we're going to use. This is the slope formula. It says slope, given 2 points. The point is P has coordinates x1, y1. The point Q has coordinates x2, y2. And then you're going to plug the numbers in here in this fraction, and then you're going to simplify, and that's the slope. So we're going to go back to this assignment, and we're going to work it out. So we have 2 points. So the first number is x1. And the second number is y1. Then from the point 2, which has coordinates 2 and negative 1, we have x2. Sorry, this is x2 and y2. And then the formula for the slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And then you're going to plug the numbers. So y2 is negative 1 minus y1 is 1 over x2 is 2 minus x1 is 1. And then you're going to simplify. You can do it, it's easy math. Negative 1 minus 1 is negative 2 over 2 minus 1 is 1. So my slope is negative 2. Okay? And that's what you're going to put here, negative 2. And then you're going to submit the answer. And when you submit the answer, you're going to see that green check mark, and also look at this table in the top. You have the green check mark, which means everything is completed for number 1. Now, I want to show you how to plug this in the calculator if you're not sure how to do it, if you're not sure how to simplify the answers. So what you're doing, you're going to go to I'm going to show you an online calculator. The online calculator is called SymbolLab. So that's what you put, symbollab.com. And this is where you're going to enter your answers. So SymbolLab has these good options here. You can use fractions, you can use squares, you can use any exponents here, you can plug it in, you can do square root, cube root, fourth root, whatever you need. And we're going to start with fractions. So I'm going to enter here fraction, click on the fraction. And then in the top, I'm going to put -1, -1 in the keyboard. And then in the bottom, I'm going to put 2 minus 1. So just enter it like that, and it's easy to enter because you're just using your keyboard, using the fraction button in your SymbolLab. And when I press go, It's going to simplify it for you, and the answer is -2. That's exactly what we got, right? So if you're not sure how to simplify, use this online calculator symbol app. Okay? So going back to number 2. So number 2, we have to find, for the given equation, have to find the slope and the y-intercept. And here I'm going to go back to my formula sheet to show you. So if I have equation of line, if you remember from algebra, there are two types of equations, slope-intercept form and standard form. So if the equation is in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b, the number in front of x is the slope, and the number with no x is the y-intercept. And the y-intercept looks like b 0, comma b. Okay? I'm gonna make it bigger so you can see better. So here on the formula sheet, the slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. The slope is in front of x. The y-intercept is the number with no x. And the y-intercept is 0, comma number, 0, comma b, whatever the number is. So here we have the slope. So looking at my equation, y equals 4x minus 1. The number in front of x is 4. And the number with no x is -1. So my y-intercept is going to be 0, comma, -1. So that's how you find the slope and the y-intercept. Now we have to graph this line. And I'm going to show you how to graph it. So here how you're going to graph it. I'm going to explain first and then I'm going to do it. So we're going to click first on here, because you're going to graph a straight line, and then when you click on that, you're going to see there are going to be three options. You're going to click on the first one. You're going to graph a line. The second one is a ray, which looks like this. And the third one, it's a segment, point to point. So you're going to click on the first one. So click on that. And then you're going to click on 2 points. The first point is going to be 0, 1. So 0, 1 is right here. That's your y-intercept. So you're going to click at 0, 1, and then you need one more point, and you're going to use the slope to find the second point. So the slope is 4 over 1, and if you remember, the slope is rise over run. So you're going to go 4 from 1. I'm sorry, this is -1. Okay, hold on. This is -1. So this should be down here, -1. So from -1, you're going to go 4 steps up and 1 over, 1 to the right. So from -1, so you click at -1, then you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1 over. So you're going to click on this point. So the first point you're going to click is 0, -1. That's the point from the y-intercept. And the second point you're going to click on is 1 and 3. And then when you click on those 2 points, they're going to be a line. It's going to connect it with the line. And then after that, you can just click one more time here, and that's going to complete the graph. So let me do it now so you can see how it looks like. So click on this. You see the 3 options. We're going to click on the first one. Okay, now it should be like that. There you go. It's kind of light, dark blue. And then you click at 0, -1, and then 1 and 3. So these are the 2 points I click on. And when you click on those 2 points, you're going to see this light blue line. And then also in the right side, you see line 1. When you click on that, you're going to see the points 0, -1, 1, and 3. Now, if one of those points you click in the wrong place, you can come here and fix those. So the points have to be 0, -1, 1, and 3. Okay? And when you click on the line, everything is going to graph. So that's how you do the graphs, and I'm going to submit my answer so you can see it's correct. Okay, now number 2 has 3 answers, 3 things I need to submit. I have the green check mark. Also in the top here it says 3 out of 3 points. and everything is green because everything is correct. So make sure you double check in the top. If it's wrong, you can fix it and you can get the right answer in 5 attempts. Okay, we're going to number 3. And number 3, it says a company's profit increase linearly from 5 million end of the first year to 14 million end of the fourth year, year 4. So here what you have 2 points given, 1 and 5, 4 and 14. You need to find the equation of the line. X is years, Y is the profit. So we have the 2 points given, and you have to find the equation of the line. So before I find the equation of the line, I have to find the slope. And I'm going to use the same way. I'm going to use the points 1, 5, 4, and 14. I have x1 and y1, x2 and y2. And then I'm going to find the slope first, which is y2 minus y1, 14 minus 5 over x2 minus x1. Oh, sorry. Not working. X1 technically is x1 is 1. So we have 14 minus 5, 4 minus 1, and we can simplify this. 14 minus 5 is 9 over 3. So the slope is 3. After you find the slope, we have to find the equation, and the equation have to be y equals mx plus b. So I have m, I have x and y. I can use x and y from one point, doesn't matter, I'm going to pick the first one. 1 and 5 is x and y, and I'm going to find what is b. So I'm going to follow that equation and need to find y equals mx plus b. And I'm going to plug the numbers there, and I'm going to find what is b. How you find b? X is 1, y is 5, m is 3 plus b. b is what I need to find. And then I'm gonna solve it. So 3 times 1 is 3, so I have 5 equals 3 plus b. And obviously when I subtract 3 in both sides, I'm gonna find what is b. So b is, this cancel, b equals 2. So I have b is 2, m is 3, so my answer, my equation is gonna be y equals m, which is 3x, plus 2. So this is what I need to answer in my answer box. So this is my final answer for the equation. So that's what I'm going to put here. Y equals 3x plus 2. And then after that, the second one is find the company's profit in the end of year 2. So what that means is I'm going to replace x is 2. So I'm going to have y equals 3 times 2 plus 2. I'm replacing x with 2 because that's what they give me. Second year, x is 2. So that means x is 2. When x is 2, what is the profit? What is y? So I'm going to plug it in. 3 times 2 plus 2 is 8. So it's going to be 8 millions. And then the next one is the same way. When here for this one, I need to plug it in. X is 6. So that's what you have here. X is 6. And then I'm going to get y equals. See, it's not working. So when x is 6, you're going to get y equals 3 times 6 plus 2, and you're going to get 18 plus 2 is 20. So my second answer is going to be, the last one is going to be 20. And then after you plug the answers, make sure you submit so you can double check your work. And I'm doing it for you so you can see everything I'm doing is correct. Okay, so that was number 3. Then you're going to go to number 4. And number 4 says, write the equation of line, and it have to be in y equals mx plus b. It's a vertical line, and it's passing through this point. Always the coordinates of point x and y. So now let's go back to our formula sheet and see when you have vertical line. So this is where we are right now, vertical line. We're talking about vertical line. The equation is x equals number. For vertical line, equation is x equals number. For horizontal line, equation is y equals number. So let's see what you're gonna get there. So when you get to my assignments, the equation is for vertical line is x equals number. X equals a is the formula. And now when I look at my point, what is x equals? Negative 4.5, and that's my answer. That's my equation. You don't do anything else here, because we know the equation of vertical line is x equals number, and then you get the number from the given point. And you don't do anything technically here, so you're going to write x equals negative 4.5, and that should be correct. Okay. The next one is number 5. So this is good. Number 5, we have to write, here we have utility considers demand of electricity low if it's below 6 million kilowatt. Average is at least 6 but below 24. So here they give you different words, like they give you what is the range for the low, for the average, for the high, for critical, okay, all of this. And they give you the hint, the interval for low is from 0 to 6. So what they're asking you here is just to represent the given numbers with the interval notation. So they're asking for average, what is going to be for average? Which one of those is going to be for average? And average says it's at least 6, but below 24. So 6 to 24 is exactly this one. Okay, the next one is high. So high is at least 24 but below 39. So 24 to 39 is gonna be this or this one. Which one you think it is? At least means equals also, right? So that means equals 24 but below, not equal to 39. So this is going to be the right answer for that one. And then critical, we have it's 39 or more. So it's going to be from 39 to infinity, right? So this is how you pick them. Just read the question and the answer is in the question pretty much. You read it and answer it. Okay, so that was number 5, and we got it right. Okay, that was number 5, and then you're going to number 6. So number 6, it says evaluate without calculator, and number 7 is the same way. Here I show you how to use calculator. You can do that, but this is what it says without calculator. So we're gonna do the inside first. So you have 3 square times 3. 3 square is, you're doing exponent first. 3 square is 9 times 3. And then you have parentheses square. That we're doing inside 3 times 9 is 27. And then you have to square that. And You just have to find what is 29 squared. And if you're not sure what it is, you can just go here to symbol up, and you can just put 27 and then click at the x square. It's going to give you the square, and then you're going to get 729. So my answer is 729. It says without calculator, but like squaring numbers, you can just do it like that. Okay? And then the next one we're doing also, if you try to do it without calculator, we have 1/4 to the -2. Negative exponent means reciprocal. So -2 exponent means I have to flip 1/4 over. So it's going to be 4/1 with exponent 2. And then when you have fraction, you square the top, you square the bottom. So you have 4 squared over 1 squared, which is 16/1. It's exactly 16. So the answer here is 16. And that's how you do that. And then, so got this right. And then we're going to go to the next one, which is number 8. And number 8, it says, here we have given word problem. You can just read it. But what is important here, you need to look at the formula given. So this is the formula, x with exponent 0.6 dollars. And what you have here, they give you when x is 2, this is what you're doing. You do 2x is 2, so just plug it in 2. So they're asking when x is 4, what's happened? So technically you just have to do 4 with exponent 0.6. And you can just use your symbol up to see what is that. So we have to do 4 with exponent. For exponent, you're going to put that present x with the box. And then you put 0.6 in the exponent. And then it's going to give you the answer. So this is the answer. Let's see how they want the answer. Round to 1 decimal place. So now here you have to be careful how you round. So when you have 2.29739, 1 decimal place means cut it through 2.2. But always have to look at the next number. If it's 5 or bigger, you're going to add 1 to the 2. So you round this like 2.3, 1 decimal place. So make sure when you look at the numbers and it says round, you have to be careful how you round it. So my answer should be 2.3C. And then I can just put that answer there, 2.3. So that's all what you're doing. Looks like a big word problem, but technically you just replace x with the given number. Okay, so that's how you do number 8. And then we're going to number 9 and number 10. It's about domain, and 11. It's about domain of function. So finding the domain of function, it's from algebra and evaluating function. So the domain of function is what is x. Domain is x, and the range is y. So what you're doing here, finding the domain, you have to see if there are restrictions. There are 2 restrictions. So domain usually is negative infinity, infinity if you have no fraction and no square root. So if you have fraction, there is a restriction. If you have square root, and square root looks like this. And fraction obviously looks something over something. Fraction. So for number 9, we have a fraction and we have square root. So when you have square root, what you're doing, you get everything inside the square root. I'm going to put a, just some letter. So if you have square root, everything inside the square root has to be greater or equal to 0. That's how you find the domain. Now for fraction, let's say you have a over b, something over something. So if you have fraction, finding the domain means the bottom of the fraction, b, is not equal 0. That's how you find the restrictions. Okay? So the domain, for fraction and square root, you have to do something. For fraction, the denominator, the bottom of the fraction, cannot be 0. For square root, everything inside the square root has to be greater or equal 0. This is the signs you're using. And then if you have no fraction, no square root, this is the domain. No restrictions. If you have no restrictions, domain is negative infinity, infinity. If you have fraction and square root, these are the restrictions. You have to do that. Okay, so now in number 9, I have square root. So I'm going to take x minus 2, and I have to solve it greater or equal to 0. How you solve it? You get x by itself. So you're going to add 2 in both sides. So my restriction or the domain is going to be x greater or equal 0 plus 2 is 2. So this is how the domain is going to look like. So which one of those it is? X, so this is called set builder notation. And which one have x is greater or equal to this one? So that's my answer here. Okay? And how you can just submit one answer if you want, but let's find out what is f of 18. So f of 18 is actually just so f of 18 is following the function which is square root of x minus 2 and replace x, so whatever you see x in this function, replace it with 18 and just follow the function. So what is square root of 18 minus 2? If you want, you can use symbol app, put it in the calculator, and it's going to give you the answer. Or this is easy to do. 18 minus 2 is 16. So what is square root of 16? That's 4. So the answer is going to be 4. So that's how you do number 9. Okay. Then we're going to go, 9 was good. Now we're going to go to number 10. Number 10, you have to find domain and range. And I told you domain is x. And the range is y. So here we have a graph. So what you need to do is look at the x-axis first. So x is horizontal, right? So you're going to look left and right, and you're going to see where you have a graph. So you have a graph starting at this point going this way. And also you have graph starting at this point and going that way. So that means x is going this way from the y-axis. It's x is smaller than or equal 0. And going that way, you have x is greater than 1. Okay? And I'm going to delete this so you can see. So you have x is greater than 0, because this is the 0, and you have a point there, and greater than 1. So it's going to be the first one. Less than 0 and greater than 1. So that's the domain. Now, for the range, we're going to do something different. For the range, we're going to look up and down, because the y is up and down. That's the y-axis. So how are you going to find that? We're going to see the graph start from here, and it's going above, right? There's no graph below this point, this line. And this line is going at -1. So that means the y is greater or equal, it's above -1. So which one has greater or equal -1 should be this one. And let's check it. Okay? So domain is x, the range is y, and you're looking up and down for y, left and right for x. You kind of scan it and see where the graph is. So that's how you do the domain and the range. And then you have another one, number 11, finding the domain. In this case, you have restriction for fraction. So here we're going to look at the fraction, and we're going to take the bottom, which is z plus 1, is the denominator. And you have to solve it not equal 0. And how you solve it to get z by itself, you're going to subtract 1. Instead of x, you have z here, which is the same, doesn't matter. So you're going to get z not equal -1. And this restriction is this one here. Now, let me explain why you have not equal -1. Because if you replace z with -1, you're going to have 1 over -1 plus 1 is going to give you 1 over 0. And why 1 divided by 0, it's undefined. You cannot divide by 0. That's why the domain is z is not equal -1, which means z can be anything else but -1. Okay? So that's where the restriction for fraction comes from, because the denominator cannot be 0. You cannot divide, but it's undefined to divide by 0. That's where the restrictions come from. Okay? And then you have to calculate, so that was the answer for this one. And we have to find also h is the function. Instead of f, you have h of -3. So what I'm doing, I'm going to follow the function. I'm going to replace z with -3. So I have 1 over -3 plus 1 equals, you can use symbol up if you like. I'm just going to do it like this. 1 over -2 is -1/2. So that's what's going to be the answer there. So we're going to put -1/2. So 1 over 2, you just put slash for divided by. So that's how you do those questions. And we're done with 11. Now we're going to go to number 2. And number 2, it's another graph we did already. So I'm just going to show you. So here we have the slope. You can see, looking at my function, f of x or y equals, doesn't matter. The number in front of x was the slope. So the slope is 3 over 1. So I'm going to do rise over run. I'm going to go up 3 and to the right 1. And the y-intercept is going to be 0 and -1, because the number by itself is b, which is the y-intercept. So remember we did that. Let me show you the formula sheet again. See, the y-intercept is right here. Okay, so if you have y equals something, the number in front of x is the slope, the number by itself is the y-intercept. So we're going to graph it. And this is how you graph it. You're going to click on the first option for the line. Then you're going to start with the first point, 0, -1. And then from 0, -1, you're going to go 1, 2, 3 up and 1 over. So this is the second point I'm going to get. And then you can double check here. 0, -1 is the first point. Now when I go 1 up, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 up, and 1 over is going to be 1 and 2. So that's correct. And I'm just going to check the answer. So this is just a question we already did. That was good. Okay, then you're going to go to the next one where it says solve the equation by factoring or quadratic formula. Doesn't matter how you solve it. You can use, let's use the quadratic formula here. So solving with quadratic formula, let's see if I have the quadratic formula here. It's right here. It's in the top. So this is the quadratic formula. Oh, this is the quadratic formula. -b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac, everything over 2a. Now, in front of x squared is a, in front of x is b, and the number by itself is c, and it have to be equal 0 before you get your abc. So let's start with this one. I have a is the number in front of x squared. There is nothing in front of x, that means it's 1x squared. So I have a is 1. B is the number in front of x, which is -4. The number always goes with the sign in front. And C is the number with no x's, so it's -21. So these are my A, B, C, and then I'm just going to follow the formula. It's -b. Make sure you put parentheses, square root, b squared minus 4. I'm going to put A and C. Everything over. Let me get it back. 2 times. So we have -b. I'm plugging in b is negative 4. And then b squared, which is also negative 4, minus 4a, and c is negative 21 over 2 times a. So this is what you get when you plug it in. And then you're going to simplify. Now, you can use symbol up here. It's easy to use symbol up. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to simplify a little bit first. I have negative 4, so that's going to give me 2 negative, give me positive 4, plus or minus. I'm going to put all this in the calculator. So the square root of all this is going to go in the calculator to simplify. See what you get? And then everything over 2 times 1 is 2. So let's see what is the square root first. I'm going to go to the calculator in symbol app, and I'm going to delete this and put square root. Now for square root, you just have to press the square root, and then you put parentheses minus 4, close the parentheses, and then you're going to press the square, and then minus 4 parentheses 1, close the parentheses, open, minus 21. And then out of the square root. Now make sure when you do all this, don't get out of the square root. So this square root, the line for the square root, here this line has to continue all the way to the end. Because if you get out of the square root, it's going to give you the wrong answer. So then when you press enter, let's see what is the square root equals. So the square root give me 10. Okay, everybody see that? So that's 10. So I have 4 plus minus 10 over 2. Now here you're going to do plus, and then you're going to do minus. So you're going to do 4 plus 10 over 2, and then 4 minus 10 over 2. And again, you can use symbol up if you like, or you can just simplify it. That's how you use symbol up. You press fraction, and you do 4 plus 10 over, click on that, over 2. And then it's going to simplify everything. It's going to give you 7. So my first answer here is 7. And then I'm just going to go here and change the plus to minus, because everything else is the same, for minus 10 over 2. And the answer is negative 3. So these are my answers, negative 3 and 7. And then I'm going to go there and plug the answers. Now here it says enter your answers with as comma separate list. It says here. Okay, so what that means, I'm going to put the first number, comma, the second number. And it doesn't matter which number you put first. I can just put negative 3 first, comma, 7. Or backwards, it's still going to be the same. 7, comma, negative 3, comma, 7 is still the same answer. It's going to accept both. So that's how you solve this quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. Okay? And use your calculator to help you out. Then we have number 14. And in number 14, we have cost and revenue function, and we have to find the break-even point. Excuse me. So here we have given the cost function is this function, and the revenue function is given. Cost is the expenses you're using to produce something. The revenue is when you sell something, how much you're going to get from selling it. And the break-even point is when the revenue and the cost are the same. Now here, the next one, the B, they're asking to find the maximum profit. And profit is revenue minus cost. So the profit function is when you subtract from the revenue, you subtract the cost, revenue minus cost, is going to give you the profit. And the profit is how much you're going to get if you produce something and you sell it. So what's going to be your profit, how much you're going to get if you sell something and take out the expenses for producing it. So how much is going to be your profit? Now the profit sometimes is positive, sometimes is negative. Like if your cost is bigger than what you're selling it for, then the profit is going to be a negative profit. So now here we're talking about finding the break-even point. Break-even point is when the revenue and the cost are the same, when the profit is zero. That means you get out break-even. Whatever money you put in the production, that's how much you sell it for. Okay, so you're even. So break-even is when the revenue equals the cost. So that's what you're going to solve. Or you can solve the profit equals zero, which is the same. Okay, so let's do that. Revenue equals cost. So I'm going to take the revenue function, which is negative 2x squared plus 300x. That's my revenue. And I'm going to solve it equals the cost, which is 100x plus 3200. And this is quadratic equation, obviously, so I'm going to move everything in the same side. And I'm going to subtract this number also, 3200. So because before I start using the formula, I have to have everything equal 0. So I'm going to have negative 2x squared plus 300x. I'm sorry, when you subtract 300 minus 100 is going to give me, oops, sorry, let's get it back. So this here should be 200, because 300 minus 100 is 200, and then I have minus 3200 equals 0. So this is my equation I have to solve. Now, this is also your profit. So the profit is this one. This is my profit. Because from the revenue, I subtract the cost. I move this over, becoming minus the cost. So this is technically the profit function. So now I need to solve this equation equals 0, and I can use the formula again. I'm going to have A is negative 2, B is 200 in front of X, and C is negative 32 hundredths. And then I'm going to use the formula again. So I have negative B plus or minus square root B squared minus 4AC, everything over 2A. And then I'm going to put the numbers. So I have negative B is 200. And then you have B squared minus 4A is negative 2. And C is negative 32 hundredths over 2A. And then you're going to simplify. So we can use the calculator first. I'm going to get negative 200 plus or minus, I'm going to do the square root. Everything over 2 times negative is negative 4. So let's see what the square root is going to give me. So I'm going to go here and do the square root first. I have to enter square root. And then I have parentheses 200 plus the parentheses square minus 4 negative 2 and negative 32 hundredths. And that will give me, the square root is going to be 120. So the square root give me 120. And then I'm going to do plus and minus. So when I do plus in the calculator, I'm going to do the fraction. And then I'm going to do the minus. So let's do the fraction. I'm going to delete this. And I have fraction. I have negative 200 plus 120 over negative 4. So I'll just plug it like that to simplify, and that give me 20. So my first answer is 20. And then I'm going to do the other one. Let's see when I change this to negative. Oops. Negative 200 minus 120 over negative 4 is going to give me 80. So my two answers are going to be, I'm done with my calculator. So I have I have two break-even points. So the break-even points are 20 and 80. So first I'm going to put the smaller one, which is 20, and the other one is going to be 80. So what that means if I produce exercise, so here they're talking about exercise machines. So if they produce 20 exercise machines or 80 exercise machines, they're gonna have break even. So that's what that means. And then the next one, it says find the number of cells that maximize the profit. So now looking at my profit function here, the profit function I have, this is the profit function. This is my profit. It's if you remember from algebra, it's a x squared, it's a parabola. And if the number in front of the parabola is a negative, that means the parabola is going to look like this. So this is the graph of your profit function. Now you have your x-axis and the y-axis. So this is where you have break-even. These are your break-even points. So the first one is at 20 and the other one is at 80. So this is where the profit is 0. This is the graph of the profit function. So the profit is parabola turned upside down. And where you cross the x-axis is where you have the profit 0. Now the maximum profit is going to be right here in the top of the parabola, the vertex. Now one way to find it, if you use the vertex formula and use this equation, and the other way, which is kind of shortcut, I'm going to show you, it's finding the vertices. It's the vertex because the parabola is symmetrical. It's a symmetrical graph, which means if I have a line going through here, sorry, I moved that. So, oops. So if you have graph, if you have parabola, the axis of symmetry is going through the vertex, so which means the vertex is exactly in the middle between 20 and 80. So do you know how to find the middle point here? What is the number here? So the middle point is going to be when you add 20 plus 80 and you divide by 2. That's the middle point. So this point here is going to be 20 plus 80 is 100. Divided by 2 is 50. So the vertex or the maximum is going to be at 50 when x is 50. And you can double check from 20 to 50. When you subtract 50 minus 20, that's 30 points away, right? And from 50 to 80, that's also 30 points away. So the first answer is going to be the number of cells is going to be 50. Now, what is the maximum profit? The maximum profit is when you replace x with 50 in the profit. So finding the maximum profit is going to be finding what is P of 50. And I'm going to follow this equation. This is my profit, and I'm going to replace this x and this x with 50. And I can use my symbol up. So I'm going to put that here. Sorry if you can see or not, but I'm going to just follow that negative 2, parentheses 50. Then I do square plus 200 parentheses 50 minus 3,200. So I'm going to put that, and my maximum profit is right in here, 1800. So that's what I'm going to put here, 1800. Okay, so that's how you find all of this, and I'm going to submit so you can check it, and everything good. Okay, so that's how you find the break-even point when the revenue and the cost are equal to each other. And then finding the maximum profit is just the middle point between the break-even points, because the graph is a quadratic function. It's open upside down, and then just find the middle point. That's easier way to do that. Okay, so that's how you do number 14. Then you're going to go to number 15. And number 15 is we have to find a function, which is the cost of having X board feet of lumber delivered. So here we have delivery cost, delivery charge, which is $12. And then we have also $4 per foot. So what that means here, when you find the cost function is usually the fixed cost. That's what you pay once, fixed cost, plus cost per unit, cost per foot or per hour, whatever it is, per something, times X. So you have fixed cost plus whatever is the cost per unit times X. And that's what you're going to put there. So my delivery cost or fixed cost is $12. And we have $4 per foot. So it's going to be, the cost function is going to be 12 plus 4x. And that's going to be my answer. There's nothing else more difficult to do here. So I'm just going to put 12 plus 4x. Okay. Then we have another one, finding the graph. So here we just have to pick which one is the right one. And you have equation of y. And you have to see, like, kind of analyze the function. So looking at my first equation, so this is called piecewise function, which means have different graphs for different x's. So when x is greater or equal to 1, which means you're going to include the point in the first one, and the other one is x is less than 1, which means you're going to have open circle for the second one. Now, x is less than 1, which means to the left. So the graph is going to go this way, and it's going to stop at a little open circle. And x is greater because the greater is to the right. That means the graph is going to go this way. Okay? So to the left side of the graph, you have to stop at open point. And to the right side, you have to be closed. So it's not this one, because here it's backwards. And also, it's not this one, because this one is also backwards. So it's going to be one of those two. Now, which one it is? So we're going to look at my equations now. So the equations are 4x minus 2 is the one to the right. So this graph, because the number in front of x is the slope, it's a linear. And if the slope is positive, we have graph going up. So that means the graph is going to be increasing, going up to the right. And this is not the case, because this line is going down. This line is going up, right? And also, if you want to double check, the second graph, it's 4 minus x. The number in front of x is -1, which means the graph to the left is going to be decreasing. It's going to go down. And that's exactly what you have. From left to right, the graph is going down, it's decreasing. Okay, so that's why this is my right answer. And you're just going to click on here to check the right answer. Okay, so that's how you pick which one it is. You're just going to look at your limits here for the piecewise function, then you're going to look at the slope. Sometimes you need more information, but in this case, that's good enough. So that's my right answer, and I'm going to double check that. Okay. Oh, I picked the wrong one because I picked the up one. See what's happened if it's wrong. If it's wrong, let me show you here what's happened if number, the one I just picked, is wrong. See, number 16, it says 0 out of 1, which means I attempted, but it's wrong. See, number 17, I didn't put anything, it's have a little line. So I'm going to click on number 16. I was just thinking about to show you what's happened if it's wrong. Now, I picked the top. I need to pick the bottom one because that's the right one we have, right? And I can I can double check that with the notes we have. See, this was the right one, and the bottom one is the right one, so you need to click at the bottom one here, okay? And when it's right, it's gonna have the green check mark, and also if you don't want to go the way up to the, you can look here. It says 1 out of 1, which means everything is good, okay? So that was 16. We're gonna go to next one, which is 17. And 17 is another piecewise function where you have to calculate something, and then you have to pick the right graph, which we're going to do the same idea, the same way. Okay? So how you do that? So first we have piecewise function. We're going to evaluate. This is like a function. This function expresses the income tax for different incomes. So if the income is up to 7,000, and if it's above 7,000. Now, this is what that means. If x is between 0 and 7,000, you're using this function. If it's greater, you're using the bottom function. Now, here they say x is 5,000. So x, you're going to plug it in, x is 5,000. That's the income. So when x is 5,000, 5,000 is in the first one, in the first function. So I'm going to plug it in 5,000 for x in this first equation. So you have to replace, we have 0.010 times 5,000. And when you do that, it's going to give you 500, right? So my first answer is going to be 500. And now here you can just check that. Check what you have right now. You can do one by one. I'm just showing you different options. See, I have that right, but I still have more to do, and it doesn't count against you. See, everything else doesn't have X, so which means I didn't use that attempt. Now, if you click at previous answers, you can check your previous answers. So I have, this is correct, and I didn't put respond here. Okay, so now, next one is calculate the income when it's 7,000. So when it's 7,000, that means 7,000 is you have less or equal. So you're going to use the first function also. So here I need to do 0.010 times 7,000, which give me 700. So my answer is 700. And then the last one is 14,000. So 14,000 is bigger than 7,000. So I'm going to replace it in the bottom function. So I'm going to have 700, just follow the function, plus 0.3, x is 14,000 minus 7,000. And that's what you have to calculate. And I can just use symbol up to get that answer. Okay, so I'm gonna just plug it in here. So I have 700 plus 0.3 parentheses 1,400 minus 7,000. 14,000 minus 7,000. And we get 2,800, 2,800. Okay, so that's how you get that. And now we have to figure it out which one is the right graph. I accidentally clicked on this, but it's not that. So how you gonna find which one is the right answer? If you wanna submit those three so you can make sure you're right. And then we can find the right graph. So this is how you're gonna do it. So obviously at 7,000 is the place where the graph is gonna split. You're gonna have two graphs. So the first one, the first graph is gonna start from 0. So it's gonna start at 0 and it's gonna end at 7,000. Right? And the second graph is gonna start at 7,000, but you have to be open circle. And it's gonna go somewhere, right? We don't know exactly how it's gonna look like yet. So let's see which one of those it is. Okay, it's not this one, the one I accidentally click on. Okay, so let's see. Obviously, because we don't have those two open and closed, that means they're gonna meet each other. So the two graphs are gonna meet, which means they're gonna connect. The two graphs are gonna connect. So it's not this one, it's not, I mean, it's not this, and it's not this. Because those two graphs, see, they're disconnected. So it's gonna be one of those two. Now, let's see which one of those two it is. Okay, both of those start at 0, 0. Now, they need to go at 5,000 and 500, so that's one of the points. So you have technically 3 points given. Okay, so you have 3 points given. I'm gonna write the points here. So first point is when x is 5,000, the y is 500. So that's my first point I need to have in my graph. The other one is when the income is 7,000, the taxes are 700. That's my second point. And then I have one more, which is 14,000 and 2,800. So now I have to kind of zoom the graph to see which one of those it is. Okay? And let's see. I'm gonna move the graphs. So looking, I'm gonna zoom them a little bit. See, I have 5,000. So let's look at this graph, or let's look at this graph first. So when x is 5,000, which is here, what is the y in the graph? The y is gonna be here. And the y is between 1,005 and 2,000. So it's not 500. So when x, this is y, right? So when x is 5,000, see, x is 5,000, y for that point on the graph, it's not 500, so it's not this one. So let's double check the graph in the top. Okay, so here we have 5. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna use different color. So when x is 5,000, what is the point here? Y is, it's about, right, yes, 5,000. Then when x is 7,000, which is 5, 6, 7,000 is here. This is the point where they connect. Y, it's also below 7,000, so it's below 1,000, which is good. Now, when x is 14,000 is here, and I'm gonna go to graph. So this point have y between 2,000 and 3,000, so it's about 2,800. So that means this is my graph, the first one. The first one in the top. Okay? So I'm gonna make it smaller. So this should be my right answer. Okay, so that's how you pick which one is the right answer. Okay, you have 4 out of 4 points here. So that means I got it right. Okay, then we're gonna go to number 18, 19, and 20, and 21. So all these questions about compound interest. So here we're gonna use the formula. Now, these are different investments. So here they ask me to find if it's compound annually, quarterly, or continuously. So I'm going to go to my formula sheet, and everything is in this formula sheet. So I have here in the formula sheet, explanation of domain, range, everything is here. So in the second page, next week, we're going to talk more about compound interest, compound continuously, annuity, and more stuff like that. But here we just have simple stuff. So here we have, this is review from algebra. Compound interest, this is the formula you're going to use if it's annually, n is 1, if it's quarterly, n is 4. So that's what you're going to use for those two, monthly, 12, and so on. R is the rate in decimal, P is the principal, T is the time in years. Everything is given. Now, if it says compound continuously, the formula is different, and you have that E. Okay, so these are the formulas you're going to use. And then let's see what we have. So I'm going to do the first one. And the first one, it's about annually. So the deposit is the principal 1,000. This is the rate, 10%. 9 years is the time. Time is always in years. And then you have annually, quarterly, and continuously. So when it's annually, N is going to be 1 in the formula. Quarterly, N is going to be 4 because there are 4 quarters. And continuously, it's a different formula with the E. So there's no N in that formula. So let's start with the first one. So we have the annually, compound annually. So the formula for A and B is going to be A equals principal 1 plus the rate in decimal over N with exponent N times T. So this is the formula we're going to use. And then you're going to plug the numbers and then calculate it. That's all what you're doing. So the principal is 1,000. So I'm doing the first one, 1,000. 1 plus. Now the rate 10% in decimal is going to be, you divide 10 by 100, is going to be 0.1 or 0.10, doesn't matter. So I'm going to put 0.1 over N is 1 with exponent 1 times 9 years. So that's all we're going to put in the calculator. So we're going to put 1,000 parentheses 1 plus, just put it everything together. Don't do it step by step. 0.1 divided by 1. And then you put exponent, not the square, put the second one, exponent. 1 times 9. Just like that. Even if it's easy to simplify, just put it like that because you're going to change it for the next one. So this is my answer I got. Now here we have to round. It says how to round to nearest cent. Okay, so nearest cent means 2 decimal places. So if you want to round 2 decimal places, we're gonna do the same. Look at the third digit. If it's 5 or bigger, you're gonna add 1, so you're gonna round to 2,357 and 95 cents. So that's how you do that. And then we're gonna just put that number in my answer box. So it's 2357.95. So that's how you do that. And then the next one, B, we have to do quarterly. So quarterly N is gonna be 4. So when I plug it in, N is 4. You're just gonna replace here. This is 4 and this is 4. So you're just gonna change those two numbers to 4. Nothing else. Just change the numbers on the calculator to 4. And let's do that. So you can just go here and then change the 1 to 4 in both of those places. And that's going to give me the answer. So we have this number, and then again, when you round, make sure you round to 2 decimal places. So look at the number after the second, the third digit, which is 5. So I'm going to add 1 to 3. So my answer is 2432.54. So that's what you're going to put in my answer box here. So the second answer is 2432.54. Okay, and then the last one is compound continuously. So for compound continuously, we're going to plug the numbers again into the different formula. The formula was the principal ERT. So this is the formula. So the principal was 1000. E with exponent, the rate was 0.10, 0.1, and then 9 years times 9. So those two numbers are in the exponent. So when you plug it in, be careful with that. So I'm going to go to my calculator again, and I'm going to delete this. And I have 1000. And then I have to press E, which is just the letter E in the keyboard. And then you press exponent, the 1x with the box. And then you put 0.1 times 9. And then we're going to round up again. So we're looking at the third digit, which is smaller than 5. So we're just going to cut this. We're not adding 1. So my answer is 2459.60. And that's what you're going to put here. 2459.6. You can put 60, doesn't matter. And let's check those answers. Okay, so everything good. And then the next one is the same way. Number 19, we're going to use the formula. It's quarterly, so the formula with the n. So principal 1 plus r, which is 0.08 to decimal, 8% to decimal, 0.08, with n with exponent n times 65. So that's what you're going to plug it in the calculator. I'm sorry, I forget the principal. So the principal is not P, the principal is $5,908. So that's what I need to put in my calculator to see if I'm going to reach 1 million. That's the question. I'm going to have 1 million in your account. They're asking, I'm going to become a millionaire. So we're going to plug it in. 5908. Parenthesis 1 plus 0.08 over 4. And then exponent 4 times 65. And let's see how much you're going to have. So we have, okay, we're not interested in rounding right now because it doesn't matter. We need to see how much is that. So I have the decimal point is here. We have 7 digits. So it's going to be $1,017,384. So the answer is yes, because you're going to have more than 1 million. That's the question. They're not asking how much you're going to have. They're asking, are you going to become a millionaire or no? So the answer is yes. Okay, so just plug the numbers, see how much you're going to get in the account after 65 years, and then see if it's more than a million or less than a million. Okay, the next one is the same way. Again, a calculator. But here we have depreciation. So when it's depreciating, something is depreciating, the rate is going to be a negative. So the rate is going to be negative 0.45. That's the decimal form of 45%. This is the principal again, 25,000. And they're asking the time is 4 years, and the other one is 9 months. So you have two different times. So that's the time. And we have depreciation each year, so which means N is annually, so it's going to be annually. So we're going to use the same formula, P equals A equals P. That's the formula. 1 plus R over N with exponent NT. But because it's depreciation, the rate is going to be a negative number, and we have everything to plug it in. So we have 25,000, one more 0,000, 25,000, and then you have 1 plus. Now the rate is negative 0.45 over 1 with exponent 1 times 4 years. And then we're going to plug it in and get the answer. Now for the next one, so the first one, the 8A is going to be 4. Now when you have 9 months, T is going to be, the years have to be in, the time have to be in years. So you're going to change 9 months to years, so it's going to be 9 out of 12. So that's your time, 9 out of 12. That's what you're using for the second answer. And then just plug it in and get the number. So let's do the first one. So here I'm just going to change, the first number is 25,000. Then we have here, sorry, let's put it like 1 plus fraction. We have negative 0.45 over 4 years. I'm sorry, over 1. And then the exponent is 1 times 4. So this is going to be the depreciation, the amount after the depreciation. So the first one is going to be 2,287.66 cents, because after the 5 it's 6, so I'm going to round to 66 cents. So that's my first answer. And then I'm just going to change, so instead of putting in and just going back here, I'm going to change the 4 years is going to be 9 divided by 12, just like that, just 9 divided by 12. And then the second answer I got is here. I'm gonna write it over here. I'm gonna use different color for the second answer. It's 15,966.58, because after 8 is 4, so we're just gonna keep it 8. This is 8. Okay, so these are my two answers, and I'm gonna put them in. The first one is 2,287.66, and then the other one is, see, the price is going down. So when the rate is negative, the price is going down. 15,966.58. Make sure you careful, just put all the numbers the way they are and all that, okay? And let's submit that. And we're good again. Now, number 21, we still have a few more questions to do, which are similar. Number 21, we have the population is given with this formula. Okay, so they give me the population is calculating using this formula, and it's in billion people. Now, X is changing between 0 and 20. You have to use this formula to predict the population in 2011. Now, because you start from 2000, that means from 2011, X is going to be 11 years after 2000, because that's where you start the count. The formula starts from 2000. So that means after, if you want to calculate the population 2000, you have to count how many years after 2000. So X is going to be 11, so just put 11 in the place of X, and you're going to calculate it. So it says round to 2 decimal places also. So when you get the number, you have to round 2 decimal places. So I'm putting in the calculator 5.89 E 0.0175 times 11. That's my X. And that's what I need to put in my calculator, and then you're going to get the answer. So you have 5.89 E, so you put E in the keyboard, and then you put exponent 0.0175 times 11. And then we need to round 2 decimal places, so it's going to be, my answer is going to be 2 decimal, so it's going to be 7.14 billion people, because here the X is in, the answer is in billion people. $7.14. Okay. And we're done with that. Okay, going to the next 22 and 23, we have to do something logarithm and exponent. That's review from algebra from without calculator. I can show you how to do that. And you can also use that for that. And then we have one more depreciation here. Okay, so let's do those two first. So here, if you want to do without calculator, we're using this rule. So the rule is if I have ln of e with exponent, I'm going to say x, whatever is the exponent. E and ln, if you remember from algebra, they are reverse opposite operation to each other. So technically ln and e, they cancel each other. Or you're going to get just these cancel each other because they're opposite operation. So the answer is x. So looking at my number 22a, we're going to get ln and e canceled. And what is left? We have left with the number 6. That's all. The exponent is 6. And then the other one, we don't have e with exponent. So the other one, you have to kind of simplify. So here, 1 over e, you have to represent it with exponent, e with exponent. Here, if I have 1 over e reciprocal, you can move this e in the top to be e with exponent. This is e to the first right now. When you change it to negative exponent, because negative exponent means reciprocal. So 1 over e become e to the negative 1 exponent. And looking at that, obviously, ln, if I rewrite it, ln of e to the negative 1, this cancel is going to be negative 1, whatever the number is going to be there. So this is negative 1. And then the last one is ln of fifth root of e. Now, fifth root, you have to change it to exponent, and this is the rule. If I have any root of, I'm going to use e, that's going to be exponent 1 over n. So here, fifth root is going to change to 1/5 exponent. So ln, so this become ln of e to the 1/5 exponent, and ln of e cancel out, and the answer is 1/5. Okay, so that's what you're doing for this one. You're changing, you have to be with exponent, and then you just get the exponent answer. Okay, and that's how you do this. And you can also put it in the calculator. I can show you how to do a logarithm in the calculator. So if you want to do ln, let's say I put it here. So let's say I want to do ln with exponent. So now there's a special here, special button here. When you press on this logarithm, you can put logarithm with any base, but we don't have logarithm with base, you have just ln. So you're going to type it in ln, and then you're going to put 1 divided by e, just the way it is. Just use the keyboard. Just use the letter ln and the letter e. And when you put it like that, it's going to give you -1. That's exactly what we get. Okay? So you can do all this in the calculator also. Just enter it the way it is. Okay, the next one is a logarithm with base. So I can show you how to do it in the calculator and then also without the calculator. So without the calculator, you're using the rule for if I have logarithm, this is the rule you're using with base a. And then I have a with exponent x, whatever is the exponent. All these cancel out and the answer is x. Because logarithm and exponent, when they have the same letters here, the same numbers, cancel out and the answer is just x. So that means here in this case I have to represent 64 to be with base 4. So 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. So that means I can change logarithm with base 4 stays there. 64 I'm changing it to 4 with exponent 3 because 4 times 4 times 4 give me 64. That means 64 is going to change to 4 with exponent 3 because I multiply 3 times by itself. So that's what I did. I changed 64 to 4 cube. All these cancel out, so my answer is 3 for the first one. Okay, then the next one the same way. 256, you change it to exponent, 4 with exponent, and then because it's in the bottom, it's going to be a negative exponent. But let me show you how to do that here. So I'm showing you different ways to do that. So 1 over 256. So I have logarithm with base, so I need to press on that. And then you put 4 down, and then here put 1 over 256 like that. Just put it exactly the way it is. And the answer is -4. And I told you why it's negative, because it's 1 over. 1 over give you negative exponent. And then the next one, the same way, you can just put it like that. You just put 2 there. I'm just going to do it like that. It's going to be 1/2. Okay, 1/2. And it's 1/2 because, let me show you if I want to do it without calculator. So here I have to change these two to 4 root exponent. So 2 is actually square root of 4. Square root of 4 is 2, right? So I'm going to change 2 is square root of 4, right? That's what I know. So I'm going to write logarithm with base 4 of square root of 4, because 2 and square root of 4 are the same. And then this square root, remember how to change fifth root? So I'm going to change it with exponent. So it's going to be logarithm base 4, 4 to the 1/2. This is the same, and the answer is 1/2. Okay, so that's how you do those. And then we have one more question to solve. And the last one is about, we have car depreciate again, so the rate is going to be negative 0.15. It's a negative rate. And the question is, when will the worth of the car be the following amount, half of the original price? Okay, let's do that. And we need to answer the 2 decimal places. So we're going to use the same formula. Amount is equal principal 1 plus rate over n, annually, exponent nt. So they're asking what the time should be. That's what you're solving for. We're looking for the time, how long it's going to take you to. The price will be half of the original price. So if this is price of the car, we don't know how much it is right now. This here should be 1/2 of the price. Okay? So what that means, we're gonna, you can divide, see, because you have 1 times p, 1/2 p, and you have p times, so it's a multiplication. So we can divide by p both sides and cancel the p. So the equation become 1/2 equals 1 plus, the rate is negative 0.15 over 1 with exponent 1 times t or x. You can put x, whatever you like. I'm going to use t. So here, with this equation, you have to solve it for t. How you do that? You can do this in the calculator. So I'm gonna just plug it in. Okay, I know 1/2 is 0.5, and I'm gonna just simplify that. So I have 1 plus fraction negative 0.15 over 1 is 0.85. So I have 0.85 with exponent t equals 1/2 is 0.5. Now, how are you going to solve this? The only way to solve the equation with exponent is go to logarithm. So we're going to change this exponent to logarithm. And this is the rule for when you have it in algebra class. We did like if I have number with exponent equals number, that's exactly what you have. You change it to logarithm. So I'm going to write logarithm. This is the base a of b equals x. So you switch those and rewrite it. So let's do it the way it is. So I have number with exponent, so which is 0.85x equals number 0.5. I'm just switching it to be easy to do the circle. I have logarithm with base. This is the base. 0.85 is the base of 0.5 here equals, I mean, I have t not x, but still the same. Equals t. So I need to put this in my calculator and I'm going to get the time. And I need to round to decimal places. So let's do that. So I'm going to press logarithm with base 0.85. You can put any number in the base and here you have 0.5. So I have 0.85 base 0.5. That give me 4 point. This is my answer here. Point. Now 2 decimal places. You need to add 1 to the 6 because after 6 is 5. So that round to 4.27. That's how you do that. 4.27 years. And then the other one is the same way, just instead of 1/2, you have 1/4 of the original price. So you're doing the same way. See, that was right. So you're doing everything the same way. The only difference here when you do that one, the only difference is going to be instead of 0.5, 1/2 of the original should be 1/4. So you're going to change 1/2 to 1/4. And 1/4 is actually 0.25. So the only difference is this number. Instead of 0.5, it's going to be 0.25. Everything else is the same. So I'm just going to go to the calculator and just put the little 2 there. Instead of 0.5, I'm going to put 0.25. And the answer is, it's 8, right here. 8 point, you see that 8 point, I'm going to write it here, 8.53, because after 3 is 0, 0. So that's my answer for my 8 point. The second one is 8.53. So that's how you do those questions. And that's complete lab 1. Make sure you submit everything. And then when you're done, make sure you go all the way up and make sure you double check your grade should be 100. Okay? Good luck. You got this. You can do it. If you have questions, let me know.